We actually have a tax policy that encourages them to go overseas to save money. We should let big corporations amass more.
The United States and its territories, and possessions until sunset on August 30th, 2021, in honor of the victims of the senseless acts of violence in Kabul.
Folks, be sure to stay until the end of this video to find out if President Biden will do his job and send out more stimulus relief. Now, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York is one of the fighters in Congress, asking for more stimulus relief from President Biden. Now, the Congressional Progressive Caucus held early discussions on whether to push for a renewal of unemployment benefits. After all, folks, they are set to expire on September 6th. Now, this may be an opening for them to leverage their influence and obtain extra federal aid for many Americans. Now, some Democratic lawmakers are raising the alarm over the end of crisis unemployment benefits. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, "What we have right now, residents. The Connecticut governor has recently held a news conference to announce a new budget proposal that he will present to the General Assembly this month. This proposal will include a plan to increase Connecticut's earned income tax credit from the current rate of 30% to the federal rate of 40%. Increasing the rate will provide an additional $45 million in state tax credits to approximately 200,000 qualifying low-income people. Above the amount they are currently receiving under the program, people can get a lot more. Families will generally receive 95% of all the earned income that the tax credit dollars creates. And this is just one of the several tax relief measures that Governor Lamont will include in his upcoming budget proposal. Early this month, he announced it will include a plan to restore the pass-through entity tax credit to its original level, enabling small business owners to save money by claiming a credit that's even larger than the returns. The governor plans to announce additional tax relief measures, including those targeted towards the middle, lower class workers in the coming days, everybody. And key economic indicators such as retail sales and historic job gains are painting a picture of a robust economy that shows few signs of slowing down. But smaller than expected drop in January inflation has some economists worried that the Fed is going to prolong its interest rate hikes, which could tip the economy into recession that pulls millions of people out of work. That's not good, folks, because the CPI, a key gauge of inflation, has fallen for several months in a row, dropping to 6% annually in January, and markets had been expecting the CPI to land at around 6%, cueing a chorus of economists who want the Fed to press ahead with its rate hikes. While the Fed says it's pursuing a soft landing, meaning lower inflation without a serious recession, it expects the rate hikes to boost the unemployment rate by at least a percentage point, if not by a percentage point, then by 2 percentage points as well. I also want to add on this. Data is sure to worry the Fed officials who want consumers to spend less so that companies are forced to bring prices down. The U.S. economy added 500,000 jobs in January.
Rescue plan. Connecticut is set to receive $2.6 billion in state relief and $1.6 billion in local relief phased in beginning this year until 2024. Now, what are the funds set to go towards? The governor says almost $1 billion is set to support schools, focusing on temporary learning programs. There will also be extended unemployment insurance benefits and support for public health, economic recovery, and vulnerable communities. The governor joined by Senator Chris Murphy, who says this.
Because now a big day is coming for Americans, the Social Security Administration has a new update for Social Security and SSI. New direct checks worth as much as $2,000 are set to arrive tomorrow. Officials have confirmed that some recipients will get and not always receive their usual monthly payment this month. Instead, they'll be giving away some stimulus cash, possibly. And now the third round of financial Social Security return benefits worth up to $4,200 is scheduled to go out to recipients tomorrow. Now, that amount that recipients will receive from these checks will vary based on several income factors, including when a person would choose to retire and start receiving.
Rescue plan. Connecticut is set to receive $2.6 billion in state relief and $1.6 billion in local relief phased in beginning this year until 2024. Now, what are the funds set to go towards? The governor says almost $1 billion is set to support schools, focusing on temporary learning programs to catch up students. There will also be extended unemployment insurance benefits and support for public health, economic recovery, and vulnerable communities. The governor joined by Senator Chris Murphy, who says this.
Because now a big day is coming for Americans, the Social Security Administration has a new update for Social Security and SSI. New direct checks worth as much as $2,000 are set to arrive tomorrow. Officials have confirmed that some recipients will get and not always receive their usual monthly payment this month. Instead, they'll be giving away some stimulus cash, possibly. And now the third round of financial Social Security return benefits worth up to $4,200 is scheduled to go out to recipients in tomorrow. Now, that amount that recipients will receive from these checks will vary based on several income factors, including when a person would choose to retire and start receiving the benefits, as well as when a person is supposed to get stimulus. But according to the Social Security Administration, a person must have retired when he or she was above 70 to receive the $5,000 Social Security benefit that you should be getting. That's a free amount of stimulus. And recipients who retired at age 67 will get a maximum of $3,300, but anyone who retired at age 62 will get up to $2,300. The payment schedule for Wednesday will be for recipients who were born between the 21st and 31st of the month. Recipients of SSI will also receive their monthly income payment of $914 at the beginning of February, and the money from this payment will either be a lot or a little bit. It will allow people to afford basic necessities and food items and get shelter and food and things like that. Because according to the Fed, the payments are intended to help elderly, blind, disabled people who have low to no income of their own. Eligible SSI couples are essential, and people who are living on a fixed income cannot get that stimulus cash. Payment recipients are not receiving any payment for January because they received two payments in December, one on December 1st and 30th. The latter payment reserved is for SSI payments for January. In the year, the Social Security Administration will issue double payments to recipients in March, June, September, and December, as the first of the day will either be on a weekend or holiday. Because payments to SSI recipients will be slightly higher than the payments issued in 2022 due to the COLA made by the SSA. The payment amount issued to recipients in 2022 was already $841. This year's payment is $8.7, just higher to reflect the payment and adjustment. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office updated its long-term projections on the solvency of Social Security last month, finding that the program's major trust funds can be tapped out in 2023. And this budget found that if the projected gap between the outlays in the trust funds and revenue they receive as forecast, the balance of the trust funds will hit zero, and the Social Security Administration wouldn't be able to pay out for retirements as they come due. Specifically, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund means that people won't be getting a lot of stimulus cash for a while. Because if the two trust funds were combined, the exhaustion date would be around 2033. And federal spending on Social Security has been on an upward trend, as the proportion of Americans at or above retirement age have increased relative to the active workforce. It has strained the program's trust funds for the first time in a long time. But now, the CBO analysts said that Social Security benefits will look at the projection cost at the 2023 trust funds. Now, if it found that Social Security benefits were limited to what's payable from tax revenues, benefit payments, it would be about 23% smaller than the scheduled benefit for next year. The gap would rise again as time goes on, and that's only payable to an even smaller amount of people. And when it's payable to an even smaller amount of people, it means that people are not getting their stimulus check. But they can get it this month if they qualify and meet certain requirements. So these are the requirements that
Mr. President, President Biden on June 3rd, 2021, last year,